Now, Iran has issued a stark warning to its Arab neighbors and also the oil-rich allies of the United States, as the state of Israel is planning a massive attack on Iran. Our next report tells you as to how Iran is now indulging in some urgent diplomatic efforts to reduce the scale of the Israeli attack. Take a look.
Iran is on high alert. It has been engaging in urgent diplomatic efforts with West Asian countries to gauge whether they can reduce the scale of Israel's response to its missile attack. The uncertainty about whether the United States can convince Israel not to strike Iranian nuclear sites and oil facilities has left Tehran wondering about Netanyahu's next move. The United States has been consulting with Israel on how it plans to respond to Iran. President Joe Biden has warned Netanyahu, saying Israel's retaliation should be proportional. With United States Gulf allies expressing concern, the Biden administration is widely worried that the ongoing tit-for-tat attacks could spiral into a major regional war that pulls the United States in two. The United States' waning influence on Israel could prove to be Iran's reason to worry. Like Gaza, Israel has increasingly disregarded US's call for restraint in Lebanon. The intense bombing and ground offensive has killed over 2,000 and left dozens injured, according to Lebanese authorities.
עכשיו אתם ראיתם את ההתקפות שהאיראנים תקפו אותנו לפני זמן קצר. ההתקפות האלה היו אגרסיביות, אבל ההתקפות האלה נכשלו כי הם לא היו התקפות מדויקות.
Iran has publicly warned that any party seen aiding Israel will be treated as aggressors. Experts say it is unlikely that Iran's neighbors will explicitly come to Tehran's defense in the event of an Israeli attack. But Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and Qatar have made it clear they will not allow Israel to use their airspace to strike Iran. Iran is also reaching out to Russia amid the escalating tensions. President Vladimir Putin has hailed close links with Iran.
هر حال اوضاع در منطقه بسیار بحرانیه و کشورهای اروپایی و آمریکایی دلشون نمیخواد منطقه آرام باشه تا بتونیم این ارتباطات رو در
As the world closely watches every move of Israel, it will be difficult to say how Israel is planning a massive Iran payback. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
All right, now to give us more perspective in terms of what is expected to happen, we're being joined by retired Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis, who's a military expert and also the host of Daniel Davis Deep Dive on YouTube. Colonel Davis, thank you very much indeed for speaking to us here on WION. And let me in fact start off by asking you this. At this moment, it is still not clear what the nature of the Israeli retaliation is expected to be. The Americans are urging for a proportional, restrained response. But do you think at this point of time the Israelis would be willing to even listen to the Americans?
Well, they certainly haven't so far. I mean, you can go all the way back to, the U.S. requesting that Israel limit what it was going to do even in the Gaza Strip and to be more careful and more precise in its attacks. And of course, none of that took place. The U.S. asked them not to go into Rafah in the south with tanks. They did. They said they want a two-state solution. Israel says, no, we're not going to talk about that, on and on and on. So that hasn't happened up to this point. It doesn't seem very realistic that it would. One of the other problems is that when you say respond proportionally, that's in the eye of the beholder. So what's proportional to one is definitely not proportional to another. And I think at this point, any kind of strike that is, quote, lethal and painful, to use the Israeli words, on Iran, no matter what anyone in the South or the West may say about proportion, it matters what Iran thinks. And if they get hit with anything, whether it's the nuclear facilities, oil and energy facilities, IRGC/military facilities, they're going to respond because it won't be proportional to them. In their minds, their last strike was the end of it. That was the tit for tat, so to speak. So now than anything else that comes here, there's likely to be a very strong, much stronger Iranian response back to Israel. And then, of course, you just have to go up the rung of escalation ladder and no one knows where it stops.
And also, what is the role that would be of the other Arab nations in the region? Because in the month of April, when the Iranians carried out their missile and drone attack, countries like Jordan and even Saudi Arabia, for that matter, reportedly took part in intercepting some of the Iranian missiles. But in the case of the Israelis staging an attack on Iran, do you think these countries would want to cooperate with Israel? Because Iran has made it clear, if their territories or airspace are being used by Israel for carrying out the attack, then those would become legitimate targets.
Yeah, I mean, it's a real game of chicken because, you know, everybody's trying to figure out what do different actors actually mean. Will Saudi Arabia prevent Israeli airspace or Israel from violating their airspace? Will Jordan actually give it? And then if they do, would Iran actually expand the war, not just against Israel, but now against other Arab regimes as well, and could explode, you know, the thing into a big conflagration? Because it's one thing if Iran has to fight Israel, but if they have to fight Israel and Saudi Arabia and Jordan potentially, then you see that the thing can overwhelm them very quickly, and the cost to Iran could be higher. At the same time, we don't know if the calculation from Tehran is that, well, we're going to get hit one way or the other. So if we're going to get hit, so are they. If our oil infrastructure, for example, gets hit, I'm going to make sure theirs is a payment. Anyone who participated in this will do it. And I don't think it's a safe bet to go against any of this. The chances of this thing blowing up into a regional war is extremely large. And I would hope that the U.S. would use its enormous leverage with Israel to insist that that not happen. But as you pointed out at the beginning here, we haven't so far, and it's not a very good bet that we're going to this time.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed, Colonel Daniel Davis, for joining us and getting us that perspective there.
Thank you.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.